that is normally punishable by up to death or life imprisonment.
I've had time to think on what to say, and I'm sorry, truly sorry.
Because there are not even words to describe the guilt and remorse that I feel each day for what I've done.
He decided death was the ultimate goal that day. This was not reckless driving. This was murder.
Meet McKenzie Shilla, the cunning 19-year-old who not only carefully plotted the murder of her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, but also killed his friend Davon Flanigan as a collateral damage. It all started from a fight between McKenzie and Dominic due to the 19-year-old's toxic and obsessive nature. She threatened physical abuse and even said she crashed the car with Dominic in it. One might think it was an empty threat or something said in the heat of the moment. Still, McKenzie proved everyone wrong. When one July morning in 2022, she actually drove the car at a jarring speed of 100 miles per hour and crashed it into a wall, killing not only her boyfriend but his best friend, 19-year-old Davon Flanigan, as well on the spot. Here is the footage released from the Ohio Police Department. Initially, McKenzie tried to paint the accident as a failed suicide attempt that ended up actually taking the life of both guys. But CCTV footage revealed that the teenager driven around that specific corner more than a few times to plot the death.
Her driving very calmly and making the right turn, and then all evidence indicates she immediately put the pedal to the metal and drove straight into a building at 100 miles per hour. I think those really demonstrated to us that this was no accident.
Finds the defendant McKenzie Shilla guilty of murder, to wit Davon Flanigan.
Additionally, a 4-day trial was conducted to nullify McKenzie's excuses of physical and mental disability that might have caused the accident.
My name is Jamie Flanigan. I am the mother of the victim, Davon Flanigan. My son did not have a clique of friends, but instead was a friend to all. He would go out of his way to show love and kindness to others, including those that were often cast aside by society, the less fortunate, the developmentally challenged, the hurting, and the unvalued. Davon made sure that everyone that crossed his path knew that he truly saw them, that he valued them, and that they were worth his time. So many dreams shattered, a future stolen. We will never get to see the amazing man that he was surely to become. His life was precious. Like I said, he was so much more than cargo. I pray daily for strength and perseverance for myself and for my family. I also pray that McKenzie will find true remorse in her heart and true repentance. We thank all of those that worked so hard to help us bring justice for our son. We are forever thankful. Davon, we miss you terribly, but as Christians, we grieve with hope. We will make sure your memory lives on, and we ache for the day that we are united again in eternity. Thank you.
Both victims' families confirm McKenzie's toxic nature and the fact that she threatened Dominic with damage to property more than a few times. They even expressed dismay over the fact that she was eligible for parole despite 2 murders.
When I fell, he was my best friend and the only person that has stayed with me since I was born. I would like you to give McKenzie the longest possible sentence. I've known her for about 3 years, and as she's always taken the easy way out. You shouldn't be able to take the easy way out when it comes to murder. It's completely unfair that no matter what sentence you give her, she will be eligible for parole, while my brother will be gone forever. Thank you.
Dominic's mother made sure to point out that her son's murder's miserable attempt at painting the crime as an accident. Mrs. Russo also said that McKenzie should be grateful she's alive instead of a future, no matter what it is.
Your Honor.
But this was not a car accident. The evidence and science proved that McKenzie Shilla murdered my son, Dominic, as well as Davon. No one can imagine the pain of losing a child unless they have lost one themselves. The pain is forevermore. Time does not heal this wound. McKenzie, going to prison because you did this. Be thankful that you're still alive and have a future, whatever that may be. Dom and Davon were robbed of their futures, their hopes, and their dreams. McKenzie showed no mercy on Dominic, nor did she on Davon. Only God at this time can have mercy on her soul. Thank you.
While the victims' families were broken and tormented after losing their sons at such a young age, one might wonder what was the reaction of Mackenzie's mom.
I want to say to the families that I'm broken, sad, and lost, and my heart hurts for everyone, okay? Davion was her new friend, and Dom was the love of her life, and he was part of our family, okay? I'm just so sorry that this happened, and we're heartbroken, okay? For 3 months, crying, there was a shrine of him next to her with photos and things that he liked, and this flower that lights up that he got her because he wanted it to be fresh and alive forever. It's like a little Beauty and the Beast flower. Okay, she's got this shrine.
At the end, let's see what Mackenzie has to say and how the court reacts to it.
Families, I'm not the Davion. I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. And to my family, thank you for the support and all the love you guys give. Thank you for fighting with me. I love you all so much. I'm done. Thank you.
The defendant controlled all the events. She chose the day. Specifically, she chose the day just before her 18th birthday. She chose to drive the car, the time to drive the car. She chose an obscure, previously scouted route through an industrial workway. She chose the target to hit and the victims. She chose the means and the method to follow through. And she planned and purposefully executed the events of July 31st, 2022. I understand that the pain in this room wants me to impose the harshest sentence. But I don't believe that would be the appropriate sentence, because I do believe that McKenzie will not be out for 15 years. So she's sentenced on count 2, the murder of Davon Flanigan, 15 years to life. She's sentenced on count 1, the murder of Dominic Russo, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent. There was no medical condition that caused this as an accident. There was no mechanical failure of the car. A failed suicide attempt is not a defense to murder. There's a very good likelihood, Mackenzie, that you will spend the rest of your life in prison. She's sentenced on count 1, 15 years to life. Count 2, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent to.
What Mackenzie did was beyond vile, but wait till you look at our next teen monster, who stabbed a cheerleader 114 times, just for fun?
We're having fun in a cop car.
Yep. Tristan.
What's up, guys?
Yep.
Tristan, if you walk out the damn, it's in a cop car, cuz. Tripping, dude.
One would expect grown serial killers to be as vile as our next teen murderer, Aiden Fucci. One might say this murder is unique as it was not out of anger, vengeance, hatred, or rejection. In fact, it was committed purely out of curiosity and to experience the thrill of taking a life. Meet 14-year-old Aiden Fucci, who stabbed his fellow classmate Tristan Bailey 114 times. He even carved the word karma into one of his victims' ankles and has a smiley face on the other. After the 13-year-old's body was retrieved from a nearby pond, Aiden was taken in for investigation, and it's quite chilling to see how casually he's Snapchatting in a cop car.
We're having fun in a cop car.
Yep. Tristan.
What's up, guys?
Yep.
Tristan, if you walk out the damn...
When you see this in a month.
Here's how his parents reacted to the incident.
The Snapchat that you did was not very smart.
Not gonna put it on. Now we have people on the burner house down in our cars now. Because of that Snapchat thing you did. It's all over. You're all over.
No remorse over what their son had done. In fact, the mother was later on arrested for tampering with evidence as she washed off the victim's blood from her son's jeans. On the other hand, here's what the victim's family had to say.
So, no one can make you a good, honest person. Only you can do that. I do have hope from the words of your mother that you are a good person and you can take this time to get back on track.
The world has fallen apart for so many. Tristan had been brutally murdered, and the entire court was horrified at the case. Only one soul remained unbothered as ever, and that was Aiden's.
So let me tell you what you are charged with. You have been indicted by the St. Johns County Grand Jury on the charge of first-degree premeditated murder. That is a capital felony that is normally punishable by up to death or life imprisonment. In your case, because you are not yet 18 years old, death is not a possible sentence pursuant to the Florida and United States Supreme Courts, but this charge does carry a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. Do you understand the charge against you?
Yes, sir.
Several things about Aiden's behavior pointed towards the fact that something was seriously wrong with him. In fact, he kept repeating unsettling stuff during a hearing back in September of 2021.
Oh, you didn't take my soul away. I don't know you didn't steal my soul. I don't know what's going on. I've seen him. What's going on? What you got going on? Why am I here? I just want to talk to my mom and dad. What's going on? What's going on?
But who can trust Fucci's behavior, considering the fact that he was pretty chill and non-seriously Snapchatting in a cop car after taking the life of a 13-year-old? Considering the entire case thoroughly, the judge passed his verdict.
Fucci, if you and your attorneys would please rise. Counsel, is there any legal reason why this court cannot impose sentence at this time? Nothing. Mr. Fucci, having entered a plea of guilty to the crime of first-degree murder, I adjudicate you guilty of the premeditated first-degree murder of Tristan Bailey. I sentence you to life in prison. Because of your age, you are eligible for review of the sentence in 25 years. I order the Department of Corrections to notify you when you are eligible to apply for your review hearing. Madam Clerk, if you will please impose the minimum fines and court costs.
The pattern of teenagers becomes seriously violent and murderous towards people at their schools, continuing with our next case. Meet Willard Miller and Jeremy Goodale, both 16. What was their victim's mistake? Not a lot, just that she had rightfully given a failing grade in Spanish, which would have taken away their abroad trip. Both Miller and Goodale were students at Fairfield High School in southeastern Iowa, where the former was being taught Spanish by his future victim, Noema Graber. The 66-year-old was loved by the Spanish community, but didn't know one bad grade would take away everything, including her life.
The sentence is permissible under the Iowa law. A 35-year mandatory minimum is not cruel and
Both of them had carefully planned the murder of their teacher and executed it by savagely beating Miss Graber with a baseball bat. To make sure there was no mistakes, they stalked her daily and confirmed her routine.
And I'm going to have your attorneys assist you with this next part of the guilty plea. And they're going to ask you about what you did on or about November 2nd of 2021 that leads you to plead guilty to murder in the first degree. Counsel, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Jeremy, like we discussed, I'm just going to have you tell the court what had happened back on November the 2nd of 2021, and if there are questions that I need to follow up in order to fulfill those elements, I'm going to do that. So I'll begin with, what was it that you did on November the 2nd, 2021 that caused you to be here today?
On November 2nd of 2021, I met Willard Miller at Chautauqua Park. I understood that he had the intent to kill Mrs. Graber. Shaden had brought a bat, among other supplies, to go through with the murder. And after he had struck Noema Graber, we then moved her off of the trail, where I then struck her, and she died as a result. Afterwards, we removed any evidence that we could, and that was my recollection of the events on November 6th.
It was also revealed that during court hearings that the friends had planned the murder for 2 weeks straight, before eventually taking her life.
On November the 2nd, you observed Jaden Miller strike Mohino Graber first. Is that correct?
Correct. I was posted as a lookout while Jaden struck her in the back of the head with his bat.
And as we've discussed, you understood at that point you had participated in the planning. You were also culpable of what was going on. And upon seeing that Jaden's strike did not kill Miss Graber, you also struck her to ensure that she had passed away. Is that correct?
Correct.
Eventually, Jeremy Goodale pleaded guilty and testified against his friend, Willard Miller.
And Mr. Goodale, do you understand by pleading guilty you're giving up all those legal and constitutional rights I've just went through with you?
I do, Your Honor.
And is it your desire to waive those rights and plead guilty here today?
It is.
Instead of just saying, well, let's not call Skylar anymore, or let's not have Skylar on a sleepover anymore, well, let's kill her. And they did.
Best friends falling out is something we hear every other day, but teenage girls murdering each other because of a falling out is a rare occurrence, which was observed in our next case. Meet our next murderous teenage girls, Rachel Schoaf and Shila Eddy.
Prison with possible parole after 15 years. Today's plea hearing was very emotional, especially for the Neese family.
Since that date, my wife's life has drastically altered. We are no longer a family. The person sitting before you, Skylar's so-called friend, took her away from us without any remorse or feelings. You can look into the eyes of those who are responsible, but you can never hear what they heard as they were taking her life.
It was revealed that Skylar Neese was under the impression that she's gonna go out on a joyride with her best friends, and they were gonna smoke pot together. What she didn't know was that Shila and Rachel were hiding knives under their clothing and were gonna stab her to death. Both Rachel and Schoaf would have gotten away with the murder, but Schoaf's statement changed last minute, and she led authorities to the remains of her now deceased ex-best friend.
But she will have the possibility of parole in 10 years. And now for Eddie.
It is the sentence of the court that you've been imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for the rest of your natural life. That sentence is technically with mercy, which makes you eligible for parole after you have served 15 years.
After Rachel spoke, she was charged with the second-degree murder of Skylar Neese and a 30-year sentence for cooperation with authorities, while Shila pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison on July 24th, 2014. Our last case revolves around the 18-year-old Sha Del Jackson, who was out hunting for victims with his friend when he came across a 21-year-old university student named Nathan Potter. After stalking the victim for a while, when they saw a quiet area, they cornered him and demanded cash. Upon learning that Potter had no cash, Jackson shot him, which resulted in immediate death. Authorities claim that Jackson fled the city the next day, but that wasn't for long as his uncle tipped the law enforcement regarding his whereabouts.
I even cried. I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine what that mother is going through. I never had a clue that my child had anything to do with it. My son is not a monster. He is not a monster.
Contrary to what he said, Jackson seemed to have no signs of remorse during the court hearing, as he constantly made signs toward the victim's family and even smiled at them. Upon careful consideration of the case, the judge announced life imprisonment, which would have caused him to have a breakdown in court. Jackson's friend, on the other hand, who was accomplice in the murder, was hunting for victims that night, got sentenced to 12 years in prison after pleading guilty. If you want to see more crime videos, press another video you see on the screen right now, and until next time.